My name is Aydan Smith, and I am a sophomore at the University of Kansas. So I am an ambassador in the engineering school, and I study computer science. So today I will be discussing the KU Blockchain Institute. So what is the KU Blockchain Institute? So the KU Blockchain Institute is an interdisciplinary organization that's really focused on advancing blockchain education and adoption of blockchain usage through like speakers, workshops, a research initiative, as well as outreach, etc. And so you do not have to have any knowledge coming into the blockchain institute. In fact, when I got started, I didn't know anything about blockchain. I had heard about it just a tiny bit, but in terms of what it actually was, I had no clue. But through getting involved with it, I was able to learn a lot more about the use cases and like how it was used, as well as a better understanding of how it works behind the scenes. And so I guess to start off, I can give a little bit of a background on what is blockchain. And so a blockchain is composed of blocks, and a block records records like some or all of the most recent transactions that haven't been entered on a prior block. And so imagine you've got like a record book, and a page of a ledger would be what the block is. So the block's like the page of a ledger in your record book, if that helps to give a more like physical analogy. And so each time you complete a block, it gives way to the next block in this blockchain. And so, as I kind of hinted above, like blockchain is a growing list of those records called blocks that are linked using cryptography. And so it really just links together all of those blocks that compose the blockchain. And so, as I kind of touched on, the blocks link with one another through a like cryptographic validation known as a hashing function. And so then like I guess one final thing, like a hash is a function that converts an input of letters and numbers into a fixed length encrypted output. And so the like hash is created using an algorithm and it's really important to blockchain management. But so this is kind of like a preview of the stuff that you can learn through getting involved in the KU Blockchain Institute. But like just to reemphasize, you don't have to have any prior background to get involved with it. And they'll like the main focus of it is to increase blockchain education, and they assume that you don't know much to anything about it starting off. And so I think one thing that really helps to see how like important blockchain is in today's industry is to look at like use cases or applications of the blockchain technology. And so when I kind of first got started, my first thought, like I was like, oh, I've heard of blockchain. It's a little bit, it's used with cryptocurrencies. And like, well, that's the most like well-known use case. The actual usages of blockchain go so much further into such like a wide variety of industries. Like, so for example, blockchain can be used in voting, supply chain management, tokenization, smart contracts, and financial services. And like even a couple of weeks ago, or I think a couple months ago, I was talking to a professor at KU actually who is doing research on birds, and he was actually using blockchain to manage all of that data and the records on these dead birds. And so it really just goes to show like how blockchain can be used anywhere there's data. And so I like I think that this is super interesting to see how widespread it is, because getting to know more about blockchain really like will allow you to see how it can be used across all those industries, and there's a high chance that you might encounter it like in the workforce. And so having a background in it can really help to give you a advantage. And so this brings me to how can students at KU get involved in the KU Blockchain Institute? And so fortunately, it's super easy for students to get involved in the KU Blockchain Institute. And so two of the biggest ways are first events. And so like the Blockchain Institute will have speaker series where we'll bring in a speaker from industry to discuss blockchain technology. So like just a couple of years ago, there's a speaker from Sam's, which is a more, or like Sam's Club, which is a more well-known company. And then also they'll bring in like speakers from companies such as like Ripple, which is a more blockchain focused company. And so you really are able to learn a lot more about how blockchain is used in industry, as well as get a more behind the scenes understanding of blockchain. And so secondly and finally, there is research. So if you're interested in getting involved in research at KU, which I know a lot of students are and is a big draw for students coming to KU engineering, KU Blockchain Institute can help connect you with a professor involved in blockchain research if that's something that interests you. And actually, starting this upcoming school year, students will actually be able to pitch their own blockchain research projects in for funding. And so I think that that's a super cool opportunity that's on the horizon. And I think that getting involved with KU Blockchain Institute as well, it really can be as much or as little work as you want it to be. It's not, it's really one of those where you get out of it what you put into it. And so in terms of like time commitment as well, it's really big on the you choose for your time commitment. And so I thank you so much for listening to this, and I hope that I'll see you out at KU.